Hello everyone, welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Lafayette. This is Caillou, and we're going to be watching the round 4 match between Chumbeque and Plipster, both of whom are on different variants of Dredge. Chumbeque played a Runescribe's Apprentice turn 1, milling a bunch of interesting creatures. Recurring Abomination next turn will allow Chumbeque to bring back a Ceaseless Stalker at end of turn, and also potentially, if Chumbeque has another Torment land, will be able to bring back this Unbound Remora. Plipster, meanwhile, plays a Putrid Lurker turn 1 off of the Hazy Coppice, swings in, but Chumbeque trades it with the Rune Scribes. So here we see the difference in Chumbeque's deck and Plipster's deck. Chumbeque's deck is very much focused on using self-mill spells in order to enable itself, while Plipster's is more like attrition and value focused. Both of these decks are fast, but they're not as blisteringly fast as like the Blitz Dredge decks, which are two other decks that we have in this current tournament. So it looks like Plipster is going to play Spires of Call to discard a Ceaseless Stalker, bring back the Putrid Lurker that died last turn. Plipster's going to round his own Oracle's Vision. This is definitely dangerous in this matchup because, you can flip stuff so this Sewer Pack is coming back. That Ceaseless Stalker that Chumbeque just milled is also coming back. And Plips hits, while reasonably good, were not as good. Basically, Recurring Abomination is fine. And I think that you actually don't attack with the Putrid. No, he's going to attack with the Putrid. Chumbeque is way up on board, and I feel like you want that Recurring Abomination. But I guess the thought is you get 2 Ceaseless Stalkers. Or do you only get 1? I'm trying to think, because only one was in the graveyard to see the Putrid Lurker return, so I don't know if its ability actually triggers. I don't think so. No, okay, he is able to get both. I think, that's definitely something that I don't know the ruling on, but I would assume the way it's worded, the second Ceaseless Stalker would only actually come back the next end step. Okay, so Chumbeque's gonna round a Runescribe's Apprentice, gonna mill himself another 4. Runescribes is a powerful card. So hits two more lands of Fleeting Thoughts and a Ceaseless Stalker, all of which is painful. I think tapping the Hazy Coppice might have been an issue. So I guess can crack the Cataract for a black source. The reason I'm mentioning that is because you ideally want to. So it's gonna get it. I guess it's gonna get a Torment land. I'm not sure what Chumbeque is cracking for at instant speed, but I feel like you just want to let it die. Oh no, it's going to crack to sacrifice the Sewer Pack. Okay, it's going to sack one of the Sewer Packs. Then main 2 pays 1 to sacrifice the other Sewer Pack for a Recurring Abomination. Because that's the second creature sacrificed this turn, Unbound Remora also comes back, and Plip is forced to discard a card, which could be advantageous. Yeah, it looks like Plip's discarding Unbound Remora of his own. And then on end, Chumbeque gets back a whopping 3 Ceaseless Stalkers. So yeah, Chumbeque just kind of has the board advantage here. And all of this, notice, with both players only at 2 lands. This is why I think Dredge just kind of didn't have the critical mass of cards that it needed until recently. I think the main enabler is obviously the Torment lands. But in general, I think it's a combination of Dredge not quite having the tools to perfectly work out, and also people just kind of assuming that it wouldn't work, and then they played it and it's like, oh man, this doesn't just work, it is overwhelmingly good. So we're seeing a 3rd Torment land from Plipster. He's going to sack a Ceaseless Stalker. Okay, he's going to sack the other Ceaseless Stalker, bring back a Recurring Abomination, Unbound Remora as well. Yup, same line that Chumbeque did. And then is going to discard a Putrid Lurker and then also bring back another Putrid Lurker from grave. That's powerful. And Chumbeque is out of cards because he had to discard that only memories remain. Suddenly a threatening board. But I think, you can trade Runescribe's Apprentice and a Ceaseless Stalker for this pretty easily. Which is what I feel like I'd do in this situation. Oh no, I was going to take 3 and only trade the Runescribes. I'm not going to trade a Ceaseless Stalker. When you're up on board like this, I don't really think that there's a point. Okay, I guess the thought was Ceaseless Stalkers are coming back at end, so maybe. But I still think that you can safely trade with the Putrid Lurkers and then hope to get your Ceaseless Stalkers back next turn. Especially if you swing in with Recurring Abomination, they block it, and then you're like, cool, I'll just I'll just sack something to bring back my Ceaseless, to like bring back my Abomination. The Ceaseless Stalker will come back at end anyways. I haven't lost anything here, but you've traded down a creature. And yeah, the core of like Recurring Abomination is so strong here. Not gonna swing in. That's interesting. I feel like, yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't just swing in with Dremora and Abomination. Or at the very least, I guess wants to keep them around? But I think you can afford to trade and then bring stuff back. Because Plipster can't do it as fast as you. I guess the thought is just like, has to constantly block this Recurring Abomination. Might as well do it with your own Recurring Abomination, because that's the only self-returning creature. And of course the reason is that whoever's Abomination connects gets to start like drawing mad cards effectively because of recurring creatures. Okay, so it looks like Plipster is going to do another Torment land, and then basically just get back another Unbound Remora. Chumbeque has to discard a card, but it turns out the card they top deck was a Putrid Lurker, which ironically they couldn't hardcast, but because Plipster so graciously gave Chumbeque a discard, can play it for its alt cost. And Plipster's going to swing for the hills here. So because Unbound Remora and Putrid Lurker can't block, Chumbeque is going to trade the Recurring Abomination and the Ceaseless Stalkers right here. Probably at end of second main, just sacks an Unbound Remora or one of the Putrid Lurkers to bring back Recurring Abomination and all these Ceaseless Stalkers. That's how I would do it, at least. Of course, the problem is Plip has the same option. As long as each player has a creature on board, there's really no way around this. Also notable is that I just remembered, Ceaseless Stalkers don't care about whose graveyard a creature came back from. So, as long as one person recurs their Ceaseless Stalkers, the other person will get them back. This is definitely a clown, like just a complete clown of a game. And I mean that, I don't mean that in like I'm not referring to the players, they're playing it well. I just think that this is just one of the silliest things I've seen in this format. This kind of I say stalemate, but I think eventually someone's got to break through. So Chumbeque might swing in with the Dremora, which I think, again, makes sense because it can't block, so what else? Okay, so it's going to swing in with Abomination, a Stalker, and a Dremora. I think swinging in with an additional Stalker would be defensible, but I guess wants at least 3 blockers back. Okay, so Plipster, so Plipster takes 3 and trades off with the Dremora and the Recurring Abomination. Plipster not bringing back the Recurring Abomination on his own turn. Why? You get back an additional Ceaseless Stalker. Oh, I guess doesn't want to let Plipster get back his Ceaseless Stalkers. Yeah, okay, never mind, that makes sense. So, Plipster plays what? Okay, Runescribe's Apprentice, milling, Ceaseless Stalker, that really helps. Deformed Sanity doesn't really. Dredge Resurrection, that is pretty good, especially if you can steal something from Chumbeque. Yeah, can't while Chumbeque still has mana up, can't steal the Recurring Abomination, but that would be the obvious thing that you'd want to hit. Okay, so he's going to sack Unbound Remora to Recurring Abomination. Is going to Dredge Resurrection, sacking the other 2 creatures. Gets back both of their Dremoras. Neither player has cards in hand, so it doesn't really matter. And the Dremoras can't block. Is going to get a Runescribe's Apprentice from their grave. Mills another Dredge Resurrection. Second Recurring Abomination, Departed Evangel. Another Unbound Remora. All good hits. I'm surprised, though, that they didn't get something like with a little bit more oomph. Though I guess, looking through, the only thing with as much oomph is really another Unbound Remora from somewhere. And I guess Milling Yourself finds that as well, so I don't know, I guess I could see it. And it looks like he's gonna cast the Departed Evangel, yep. And again, it's weird, like, you don't think that this can't block rider is gonna matter much until you're in the mirror match, and suddenly it's like, oh no. But yeah, so Plipster went from having, 2 creatures on board to, despite sacking 3 of his own creatures, building up a 8 creature board. I can do math. Okay, another Oracle's Vision, this time from Chumbeque. Of course, the problem is what's going to get milled. Plip mills 3 spells, which don't really matter. Only thing that Plipster milled of relevance is a Putrid Lurker. The Omberdew Goliath is actually a big game. If Plipster manages to land a Recurring Abomination and hit with it, but doesn't have mana to recur one right now, so I doubt that's going to happen. And even if he did, I think Plipster would always have the Ceaseless Stalker Brigade on defense. It looks like Chumbeque just has to pass. What's going on? How is Plipster getting back all of these Putrid Lurkers? And this Ambradu Goliath? I feel like I'm missing something. I didn't see a Torment land, so I'm not sure what just happened. I'm scrolling back in chat just to see. Oh, okay, so played Dread Resurrection, and then Unbound Remorad to discard the Brotherhood Conspirant, which gets back all of the Putrid Lurkers. And I don't think Chumbeque has enough blockers. Yeah, Chumbeque emphatically doesn't have enough blockers to save himself. So I think just loses here. And yep, there goes game one. And yeah, I think that was really just anyone's game. Plipster definitely, I think, playing the Dread Resurrection on the Runescribe's Apprentice was actually, in hindsight, a really good play. Just to, like, it was effectively card draw, is a way to think about it. And that's, like, the strength of Dredge, obviously. Just, when your Runescribe's Apprentice is effectively a draw 4, for one mana on a body, like, yes, I will take twice better Ancestral Recall, thank you very much. But yeah, let's look at sideboards quickly before we move on to game 2. Okay, so looking at Chumbeque's sideboard, I think the Shikai's readout can freely come in and are really good in this matchup, as are the Stay Determined. So Shikai's readout functions as Grave Hate for free, and all you need to do is switch out some lands. Of course, having a good flow of Torment lands is important for the deck, but I think having some colorless sources that can also just end your opponent isn't the worst. Stay Determined is an amazing safety tool, and it forces your opponent to always, whenever they're swinging out, just be like, if they have mana up, what the hell? Because instead, you just mill a bunch of cards. Your opponent is not going to hit you for mill lethal unless they've really gone off, in which case you're dead anyways. But if they don't, you mill a bunch of cards and then can next turn use that virtual card advantage to swing yourself back into the game. It looks like Plipster doesn't have the Stay Determined tech. I think the only one of these cards which is probably going to come in is the Seal the Tomb. Again, because it's just good Grave Hate for cheap, and in the mirror it can sometimes be a lifesaver. So it looks like turn 1, Chumbeque dropped a Putrid Lurker off a Hazy Coppice using the Torment to discard the Putrid Lurker and then using the alt cost on Lurker. Chumbeque is also going to have a Hazy Coppice, discards an Unbound Remora, however, and plays a Darkrite Cultist. The fun thing about Darkrite Cultist, of course, is that you can just play it, have another creature, and then as soon as you activate its ability to get the demon, you also get back your Dremora, so fun times. You can also discard a Dremora to a Darkrite Cultist, and then it'll also still come back, so very powerful. Or discard a Putrid Lurker if you have one, just good times all around. Plipster, however, has already taken 6 from this Putrid Lurker, and it's only turn 2. On end, Chumbeque is going to sack the Putrid Lurker, bring back a Recurring Abomination, bind the Recurring Abomination off the Deadwood Groove, which is another Torment land. Does Plipster only have 1 land? He's going to tap it for a Runescribe's Apprentice. If he only has 1 land, then this Darkrite Cultist starts to look mighty sad. Looks like he did bring in the Seal the Tombs, brought in a Beneath the Zadina, which feels kind of sus to me. I guess it is also mill, so it's virtual card advantage, but I feel like you're not worried enough about Shikai's readout that you bring in Beneath the Zadina and you want to linear faster, and I think you only want to bring in so many sideboard cards, so this might have been a miss in terms of sideboarding. But it looks like Plipster does have another land, plays a Deadwood Groove, discards an Ambradu Goliath, which I'm surprised by, but is going to Darkrite Cultist, and then bring back the Unbound Remora, gets the Demon as well. Unbound Remora forces each player to discard. Let's see what you got. Plipster discards another Darkrite Cultist, and Chumbeque, okay, discards a Flooded Depths, but because of Putrid Lurker trigger, does get it back. Oh, and it looks like Plipster milled a Ceaseless Stalker off the Runescribes earlier. Didn't notice that. But yeah, that's definitely a big game. Because you kind of want to keep around both Unbound Remora and the Demon. Dremora less so, but definitely the Demon. Here you can trade Stalker for Lurker, you can block the Recurring Abomination with the Demon, and you're kind of just safe. Yeah, Plipster is just going to swing in with the Putrid Lurker. No other choice because it can't block. Plipster has the easy choice of trading it with the Ceaseless Stalker. And now, ball is in Plipster's court, despite being a hefty 7 life down. You just keep swinging in with the Demon. Oh, and has a Seal the Tomb. Is gonna Seal the Tomb on the Putrid Lurker. Feels a little bit premature to me, but okay. In response, Chumbeque has Grave Hate of his own. Shikai's read out um, exiling Beneath the Zedina, and because because you discard it, Chumbeque can actually bring back the Putrid Lurker. That's actually a powerful piece of counterplay. So Seal the Tomb just fizzles. Okay, Plipster's going to play a Brotherhood Conspirant. Is now empty-handed. Don't think this does much. Is going to swing with both the Demon and the Unbound Remora. Unbound Remora can't block, so that isn't surprising. I am surprised about the Demon because I feel like you want to block the Recurring Abomination. Sure, Chumbeque doesn't have anything in Graveyard right now, but Chumbeque is literally playing like mill spells deck, so could easily find something to get back with Recurring. But it seems like Chumbeque is just going to actually block with Unbound Remora and make that trade. On end is going to recur it with the using the Putrid Lurker. So can still now swing in, but Chumbeque can just but Plipster can just block with the Brotherhood Conspirant, I guess. Just use it as block fodder. And yep, swinging for the hills with the Recurring Abomination can get back the Putrid Lurker, and it looks like is going to get to do so because Plipster doesn't block. But Chumbeque also doesn't rebuy the Putrid Lurker. I guess wants it engraved for some reason. Has another Shikai's readout, perhaps? Or is holding out for that because he doesn't have a third land. Oh, nope. Okay, it looks like Chumbeque just remembered a little late. Grabs the Putrid Lurker to hand. Plipster is just going to swing with the Demon. Has Chumbeque on a 2-turn clock. Main 2, looks like Plipster top decked another Brotherhood Conspirant. Not super great, but you can sack a Conspirant to a Conspirant if you need to. And I guess at some point Plipster had a Departed Vandal engrave. I should really be checking out these players' graveyards. Doesn't recur the Ceaseless Stalker for some reason. I think that was probably just a miss on Plip's part. But yeah, totally could have recurred the Ceaseless Stalker there. And yep, here comes the mill. Fleeting Thoughts from Chumbeque. If Chumbeque had one more mana, it would have been real nice to inscribe this onto the Recurring Abomination so it can just fly over everything. But yeah. Okay, so gets a Sewer Pack and gets a 2/2 zombie because of milling the Creeping Crypts. Swings in with the Recurring Abomination. Is Plipster just going to tank it with a Brotherhood Conspirant? I feel like block with a Brotherhood Conspirant and then sack it to itself or another Brotherhood Conspirant. Plip's going to do that. Just to get the Surveil trigger. And it looks like, he's just going to bin a Putrid Lurker. Another powerful thing to get back that would have been a dead draw next turn because Plipster doesn't have a way to cast it. And it looks like Plipster is also going to sack the Departed Evangel to the Brotherhood Conspirant. I guess the thought is Plipster has ground blockers. Not Plipster, Chumbeque. Oh, also to get back the Unbound Remora. It looks like Chumbeque had a Putrid Lurker. And each player gets... this time Plipster does remember a Ceaseless Stalker, so each player gets them back. This was looking very much in Plipster's favor, but Chumbeque has pulled it through. Is still on a 2-turn clock to this Demon, though. And with Plipster having a copious blocking board in the form of Brotherhood Conspirant and Ceaseless Stalker, I don't know if Chumbeque can really leverage the fact that Plipster's at less than half his starting life total. So Plipster's just going to swing in with the Demon. Okay, also Dremora. Dremora makes sense because it can't block. Ceaseless Stalker to me is surprising because I feel like you have the clock in 2 anyways. I guess the thought is that it forces Chumbeque to block somewhere. So yeah, is going to block Ceaseless... Yeah, so just going to trade off 2 creatures for 2 creatures with the Dremora. Ceaseless Stalker for Ceaseless Stalker and Sewer Pack for the Dremora. Chumbeque still has 8 damage available pointed at Plipster next turn, 3 of which Plipster can block. So let's say 5. Chumbeque needs an additional 4 points of reach, and I guess the thought is that Chumbeque's only hasty card is a Putrid Lurker. So maybe Plipster's thought is it's highly unlikely that Chumbeque will have the exact sequence of cards needed, which is a land, because all of Chumbeque's lands give him access to discarding a card, plus two Putrid Lurkers, which is what Chumbeque would need to kill me before I kill him on untap. Chumbeque could also have a Stay Determined that he's saving to the last second. Though I feel like if you have a Stay Determined, Chumbeque would have just used it there to mill 9, rather than having to trade off board presence. Because then you get a free, you get to untap and freely attack Plipster. Okay, he's going to play a Torment land, Lush Outskirts, discards the Unbound Remora, is swinging for the hills, I think if you're Chumbeque, you just block the Recurring Abomination and take 5. There's no reason not to. Yeah, okay, so Brotherhood Consprint pointed at the Recurring, sacks it to itself, and wow, drops a Recurring Abomination off of that. Straight gas. And takes 5 damage right there, goes down to 4. Chumbeque doesn't have anything else. It looks like Chumbeque's last card in hand has to be a Stay Determined, otherwise Chumbeque would have conceded by now. I don't think Plipster has any answers to a Stay Determined other than like just tank it and try to kill Chumbeque next turn, which is fair because Chumbeque is still dead on board 2 turns, like next turn, just as dead as he is this turn. Also because I don't think Chumbeque has any removal spells that actually kill this fat demon. I think Choking Despair is the only one, if I remember right. So yeah, Plipster's going to swing in for 5 with the demon. No other thing for it. And it looks like Chumbeque was just bluffing. That's it! And Plipster makes it into the top 8 for Grand Prix Lafayette. That was crazy. And yeah, so I think that's 4 Dredge decks that have entered this tournament. 2 are already knocked out, but 1 confirmed for the top cut and another potentially on its way. So I think Dredge was the big boogeyman going to this tournament. So no surprise, but so like, I say no surprise to see it convert into top 8, but in a metagame where I will say, usually in MSEM there are no metagames, so having something to meta against is big. But yeah, in a metagame where like everything's gunning for you, to the point where even the the decklist page says, ignore the copious amounts of mainboard grave hate, like, I think it's definitely an achievement to make the cut. So congrats to Plipster, and also congrats to Chumbeque, who I think was, the first person to start messing around with Dredge and inspire all these builds. 2-2 is still a respectable record, especially at the second largest GP ever. So congrats to both players, and until next time, this is Caillou signing off.